Hi, I'm Katy Thoma, President and CEO of the Chico Chamber, and I'm here today with Rick Smith, President and CEO of Tri-Counties Bank. Rick is been in Chico for 27 years, has worked at the bank for 27 years. He's been President and CEO for 21 years. And I reached out to Rick because I wanted to hear from the top how the bank was dealing with the Paycheck Protection Program, how the bank was dealing with it, with staffing. So Rick, thanks for joining me today. And I would just love to hear from you some of the stories and how you're dealing with getting these loans through the SBA.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Yep, it's been a wild ride. We've had an incredible demand for these loans, which is understandable under the business environment in which we're operating. And we've been trying very hard to work with both the U.S. Treasury and the Small Business Administration to orchestrate and facilitate these loans. And it may sound simple, but it's pretty complicated. The U.S. Treasury has set the rules. The SBA has methods of operation that they're trying to still operate under, and then they're dealing with banks all over the country, at least 4,400 banks that are trying very hard to deliver these loans into the SBA. And the systems that were designed, all the software systems that these companies use, really weren't designed for this type of volume. So this program came up very quickly. We feel we were very prepared, considering what such a short time to put it in place. And we've been trying very hard to deliver. We've run into challenges where the SBA just can't keep up with the volumes, and that's made our process to elongate and get slower and slower. So we have thousands of requests, and we're attempting nonstop, morning, noon, and night, to put them through. And we've run into various problems mostly with the software systems, and also rule changes, because the Treasury came out with very simple rules, and since that point, new rules have been added almost continuously. So that's unfortunate, but it's the way it works. And so we've been trying to deliver, and we've been able to approve thousands of these loans, but we still know there's a number of customers out there that need this program, and the funds in the program are now funded. The $349 billion for this program are now gone, and we're trying to encourage our Congress to put more money out there because it's needed, definitely needed.
So I want to let you know that I spoke to one of your customers and got a great report. He was so excited that he received an email on this last Saturday that his loan had been approved. And I think that he was so amazed that he received an email from the lender on a Saturday. So talk about the back office, talk about your team and how they're doing this. I mean, how does the bank, you're an essential worker. So how do you manage that with trying to keep distance and keep everybody safe, get these loans through? I know as a former banker dealing with the SBA, it was like, they were the worst. They were just horrible to deal with. So I can only imagine. So, but share with us about your team and how you're working this through.
Yeah, I would say, number one, I don't think we would be anywhere close to where we are right now without an incredible group of people that are completely and totally dedicated to trying to help their customers. All of us are living with this virus. They are too. They're working from home in many cases. They have children at home now because of school being out. They have daycare challenge, all the same challenges we all face. And they are exhausting themselves trying to deliver for people that they know have this need. They might start at 8 in the morning and go home at midnight. And it's one thing to do it once. It's tough to do it night after night. It's tough to do it on the weekends too. It's tough to do it on Easter Sunday. They've been totally dedicated. And I think it's a trademark, it's a hallmark of our company, of the quality people that we have. And we wouldn't have been able to do half of this without their hard work and dedication. And believe me, when a loan can't be put through for whatever reason it might be, there's genuine hurt on their part, because they really know that this is important and they're trying to deliver for their customers.
So Rick, the whole purpose of the program was to save jobs. When the president introduced this, was to save jobs. So what do you know about the number of jobs that have been saved as a result of the loans that you've put through? What can you talk
Yeah,
about?
we're one of the ways to keep ourselves motivated was to have a reason to do this, because at 10 o'clock at night, after you've been there since 8 o'clock in the morning, it's not just getting paid some overtime. It's takes a lot of dedication and a desire. And so we've tracked it by really how many employees have been saved jobs as a result of these loans, and it's in the tens of thousands. And so we feel good about that, and we also at the same time feel bad that we know there's still thousands out there that still need their jobs saved. So it's been a motivator for our staff to kind of measure it in those terms, because that's, I like to think of it as the businesses and how many can be helped by this, and how many employees that work for those businesses. Because at the end of the day, um, the employees know that they want their employer to be around, not just for 2 months, but ongoing, because that's their job, that's their livelihood, and that's how they pay their bills. And so there's a lot of pressure, but that's how we're measuring things, and that's what's really driving our motivations.
Well, I know you're committed and dedicated to your employees as they are to their customers. So that's apparent. And what a great metric to keep you motivated. So one of the things that I don't know that everybody understands is that those loans that you are making are coming out of the bank's coffers. It's not as though what you're doing is you're submitting them, they're getting approved, and then you are the ones that are funding the loan. You're the one preparing the loan documents, which is a monumental task. I can't even imagine the paperwork of trying to generate that many loan docs for thousands of people, thousands of customers. But you want to explain a little bit kind of how the money works?
Yeah, the Treasury has put out this program. They've used the SBA to facilitate it happening. But what the SBA is doing when we say we're going onto their website or we're going onto their software, we're getting a guarantee number, because as people in the program understand, a portion of this debt is forgiven, and if you follow the rules set up by Treasury. So the funding of these programs come off the balance sheets of the banks. We're funding these loans, and we get this a guarantee number from the SBA. Then, assuming everything works the way it's designed, then later on the Treasury will pay us back for the monies that we put out. Our end of the deal, what does the bank make? It makes a 1% loan. So clearly that's not a loan that we would ever normally make, but we also see the value in trying to save businesses and save our community. So certainly something we're passionate about, even though it's not necessarily a moneymaker for the banks. It's important to do in the community, but that's how the process really works. And you can imagine, all of us have dealt with probably buying a home and going through the mortgage app and going through the torture of big, thick forms to fill out. Anytime the government gets involved in a program, there's paperwork. And so we're having to track all these things and design, our people are doing it, but we're also creating software solutions that can facilitate that as we go forward. So fortunately for us, we have some very sophisticated pieces of software that's helping us, but it's an incredible challenge to do this seemingly overnight.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today and explaining what you're doing and what this means for the local economies and all the communities that you serve. And and what a shout out to your team and the teams at all the other banks that are working their tails off, getting these loans processed and dealing with the frustration. I think it'll be fun when you're done to see how many jobs you shared. I look forward to hearing that number. So is there anything else you want to share with us, Rick, before we wrap up?
No, I hope Congress decides to keep funding this, because the need is great, and we're very stressed right now just worrying about our customers and how we can continue to help them without programs like this. So, but the banks are doing, I think, a very good job. Our competitors are doing a great job. Not all banks participated, but by and large, I think the banks, particularly community banks, have really rallied around this issue, and they should be appreciated for that.
Great. Well, we thank you for everything you're doing, and stay in touch, and I'll follow up with you in a few weeks.
Great. Good talking to you, Katy.
Take care. Thanks.